r/relationships. Ecstatic double 6524 says, my 29/F husband 29/M signed a lease in a different state behind my back for us, even though I told him I don't want to move us and our 2 young children there. What do I do? My husband and I have been together for 10 years and married for 5. We've been living out of state away from family for my husband's job for the last 2 years, and he recently has been contemplating a last-minute transfer across the country. Last minute as in within the last month. That would require us to move in just a few weeks. This transfer would make us considerable more money and has our sole provider. We have a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old that I stay home with for the day. Living out of state was originally supposed to be for the summer, but it kept getting extended by him, and now it's been 2 years. I've been open with him about how it's been hard for my mental health to be home alone with 2 kids away from my family and friends, and has been on and off understanding about it. Some days he is understanding and other days he tells me I just don't see his vision, and I'm being short-sighted. I'm grateful has been providing for our family, so I don't have to work, but at the same time I've put all of my life on hold to move where his job is. We've only had 1 car here, so I've been confined to the house mostly and it's been tough. He recently was thinking about transferring to a new location, and I've told him each time we've talked about it that it's not something that I want to do, that I want to move home. He can make less money by working remotely or by making sales trips to this location. It would be less, but still enough to support us, although he would need to spend time away from his kids. I understand why he wouldn't want to do this, but at the same time I believe he's asking for a big sacrifice from me to follow him wherever with our kids. He hasn't been open to having the conversation with me, and I've told him a few times it feels like I will have no choice in the matter and I don't like that feeling. He has said that he doesn't want me to feel that way, and that my feelings matter to him, and that he wants to address my concerns. He took a trip for 2 weeks away from us to this location to scope out if it would be a good fit for us to move there, which we both agreed on him doing. And during this time, when I was alone taking care of the kids, I realized that I just don't feel like it's good for my mental health at all to continue to be far away from our support system, and I told him as much. When he was there he had found a place for us, but I told him each time I didn't want to rent it because I didn't want to move there. He told me we needed to act quickly otherwise we would lose the place, and I said I didn't want to move. It turns out he signed the lease without speaking to me a few days ago. Has been lying and saying he didn't sign it and that we would talk about it. I haven't talked to him about it yet since it's the middle of the night and I just found out, but I know he just did it thinking he will be able to convince me later. This isn't even the first time has done something like this. A few years ago he extended a lease for us in a different state, even though I've told him I felt like I had no say. I'm feeling really disrespected and unsure how to proceed. I understand a lot of people will say we need to go to therapy, and so I feel like I should add that I'm in personal therapy right now, and we've been in couples therapy in the past and doubt that we'll go back. We just never found a good therapist. Do I have a responsibility to go with him to this new location because of his kids and because he is our provider? My 2-year-old adores her dad, and I don't want him to miss out on seeing his baby grow up in her first year, but I also believe this was a disrespectful decision and still don't want to move. How do I approach this conversation with him? TL. Doctor, my husband signed a lease at a new apartment in a new state behind my back, even though I've expressly told him I don't believe it's good for my mental health to be away from our support system and don't want to move our family of 4 across the country. He lied about already signing it and said it's something we would talk about together. He is able to work remotely or make sales trips, but would potentially make less money, still enough to support us, and would be spending time away from his kids. I feel disrespected, but also wonder if I'm obligated to move because he is our provider and we have 2 children together. How do I approach this conversation with Mita Joe I-20 says, As the saying goes, when people show you who they are, believe them. He's been showing you that your opinion doesn't matter in this relationship for years, and he will continue to do so because you have allowed it. Unfortunately, you have to decide if this is the way you want to spend the rest of your life, or if you want to finally stand up for yourself. Obviously, since he's the sole provider, you have to consider what ramifications taking a stand will mean. But if it were me, I would take my kids and move back home. For aneurysm says, sounds like the guy's ambitious, and if the money is a lot better, just go with him. Sounds like there's a lot for you, so get some childcare help and improve your situation when you get there. Mr. 1971 says, tell him he can go, but you and the kids will be moving back to your family since he made that decision all by himself. The fact that this initial move was for a pay increase, but it wasn't enough for you each to have a car, is ridiculous. You should not be dependent on him and others for rides when you have children. DCA_user says, he isn't open to change. There is not conversation. Make your own plans like he is. Ladiarsalat1 says, he's locked into a power struggle. He assumes you will not fight back. Push back. Stay with family. He's happily benefiting from a SAHM caring for the kids, while totally isolated not only from family and friends, but isolated without a vehicle. With young kids. Your mental health must be in a pretty grey place, I'm sorry. I would tell him nope. You won't do this again. There has to be compromise. The biggest issue right now isn't the question of whose opinion is best. The issue is that he felt entitled to make a hugely impactful decision himself, for you, against your wishes, and lied. It's manipulative and very damaging to trust. He's cool with you being miserable with no support system, no transportation, no way out. That's part of his vision. Take the kids to your support system. Dell's Magic Fishes says, it is better for your children to be surrounded by your family and a happy, sane minder than to have an absent narcissist father around. Move home and get your ducks in a row. Let your so-called partner move wherever he likes. That pay bump means more child support for you when you divorce him. TheCardinal74 says, just quietly tell him I know you signed the lease. I'm taking the kids and moving in with my mom until you fix this. Then follow through. Ginger Torty Torby says, the guy wants to provide for his family and see his kids. You need therapy to learn to cope with being away from your support group. You do realize you can build a new support group, right? Therapy can help with that. You'll also need couples therapy. Because you're talking past each other. I see him wanting what's best for the kids and you only wanting what's best for you. Good luck. One long jumping 4022 says, your parents' house is not your home. You have your own family and you go where the money that supports all of you is. Your husband has spent years waiting for you to grow up, and it's just not happening. You're still crying for your parents. If you don't want a wife, move back to the parental arms, hand the kids over to your ex, or to grandma to raise, get a job, and start looking for a local boy who will live in your mom's back shed. You can glue yourself to your mother's instep, and you still can't go home again. You're an adult and those responsibilities you created can't be handed off. r/relationships. Tired student BF says, I, 19 meters, broke up with my GF, 18F, of 1.5 year and I'm devastated. As I stated in a previous post, we had some serious issues regarding handling disagreements and her giving me silent days which I can't stand. I finally had enough and broke up with her. She bursted in tears, totally melted, and I just can't stand the thought of hurting her too much. Despite the support from friends and my sister, I feel lonely and broken. I don't know if I did the right thing, but at the same time I think I was at my break point. Just tell me anything, please TL. Doctor, broke up with my GF. Can't stand that thought. I'm devastated. Honey Bunch says, you're still young, and from the sounds of it, you did the right choice. I was similar. When I was 18, I just shut down, and my communication stopped when I was upset. I eventually realized how unfair it was, and changed and grew out of it. Sometimes people need to have a big shake up, and lose a relationship, to realize the things that they need to change. The pain will become easier as time goes. It is hard to get over a first love, but you will get there, I promise, even if it feels like you won't. Retrofit says, sounds like you made the right decision, but are reeling from the effects of the loss of connection. It's hard, but it will get easier over time. That's all for this video. Was it good? I know not, for I'm a robot. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. This video is the product of an automated process.